Welcome everybody to the Watchlist, your number one source for all things streaming, where we review all the shows that get released each week across all the platforms of streaming. And we also set you up for what's coming out every week so you can create your very own watch list. You want the best recommendations. Check us out here Sunday, midday, every day. Subscribe, hit the notification bell. Let me introduce my very, very lovely co-host. Of always using that term extremely loosely. That is, of course, live from Houston. Big bro himself is Senor Jaime, a.k.a. Chewy. What it is, big guy?
Hey, brother, what's going on, man?
Good. Is the calm before the storm, as we have very hefty May over the next couple of weeks, and we'll break that down for you. There's a lot of stuff getting dropped over the next couple of weeks, so let us kind of guide you through and let you know what is exactly coming out, so you have an idea what's happening. But it's a lot, so stay tuned for that. But as always, Chewy, let's get down to the nitty gritty. I know it's a big week, a lot of big shows. We're not gonna talk about this one. This first one coming up, but obviously, we mentioned Better Call Saul was, of course, the first episodes dropped for the final season. It's being released as
Two
a
episode.
two-part thing out of like Ozark or the original Breaking Bad, of course. Great, off to a great start with this show. We're gonna talk about probably at the end, at least the end of the first part, just to see how it all comes into play. Because if you're watching the show, you're probably watching Better Call Saul, and like us, you're probably enjoying it because it was good episodes, good setup for what the shit's hitting the fan from all angles. So we'll get to that. I think it's best to talk about it at the end. Chewy, you agree with that, or?
Yep,
Yeah,
that's fine.
yeah, exactly. So just focus on some of the.
I will
Oh,
say
go ahead.
that opening montage was pretty artistic.
It was, and it was interesting. It gave us, I don't want to spoil, in case I don't want to spoil it, but it's a different aspect of a life for him of Saul we hadn't seen before. I even realized that was there, so that was like, oh yeah, I never thought about that. So I'm kind of curious how to circle back to that event. But yeah, after a good start, but again, we'll touch base on this when it's all said and done. This being the Latin Nerds Network, we have to talk about Minds, a show that I am ashamed to admit I don't watch. But you do, Chewy. So the floor is yours. Minds season 2. I know there's the spinoff on Sons of Anarchy, a show I really loved on FX back in the day. I don't know how many episodes dropped, to be honest with you, 'cause I don't up to speed. But
Two,
Chewy, just quick, it's a quick briefing on Mayans and why you should be watching the show ultimately.
two episodes dropped. Two episode premiere season 3. And I mean, like I said, if you're a fan of Sons of Anarchy, you're a fan of motorcycle clubs, of mayhem and crime and drama, this is up your alley. It's kind of interesting, where this show started to where it is now. It's vastly different in the direction they're taking the show, right? Where I think the initial season was played off as a true spinoff of Sons of Anarchy, right? And in that vein, and with the Sam Crow Club, and now it's like its own individual thing, right? With its own internal turmoil. And actually, they've written off some of the characters. Danny Pito's character has been written off as surprising as I could see, or he's been killed off screen, or it's implied.
Uh,
So I don't know if it's true or not, but let's
I
see.
hate
We'll
that
see. I'm not
off-screen
sure.
shit, but whatever. Fine.
But whatever. But the story has now taken the motorcycle club front and center by itself. But interesting enough, there's now a new conflict with the Sons of Anarchy. So they're kind of weaving it along with the storylines and see how it goes. But it's very interesting. Very good show. I enjoy it a
Yeah,
lot,
I'm
and
sure it's
so
good. I
let's
mean,
see what
it's just one of
happens.
those where I think when it came out, I just wasn't ready to go back into that world. Like, okay, I'm done with Sons of Anarchy. I enjoyed it, great, and I just, I'm like,
Yeah, yeah,
it just
yeah.
felt like it could have been second rate. And don't get me wrong, the same thing could have been said about Better Call Saul, but Saul was just such a great character. I had to go back and see that. So again, it's just a preference thing that, and I didn't watch it because of the quality. Like I said, I haven't seen it, but I heard good things about it. Like I said, I assume if you're a fan of one, you probably will be a fan of the
Yeah,
other. Yeah, no
yeah,
question.
yeah,
So the
absolutely.
next one again, a show I don't watch, and I did give this one a try. I just hate the main actress on this show. She don't do it for me for whatever reason. And that's Flight Attendant, season 2, HBO Max. A show a lot of people like, so I'm not poo-pooing the show. It just wasn't for me. Chewy season 2's off and running. I assume 2 or 3 episodes dropped, as what HBO usually does. Yeah.
Two. I
Okay.
think it was two. It might have been three. I don't remember. I'm pretty sure it was at least two. And so yeah, man. I mean, yeah. If you don't
Yeah,
like
it's just I don't know.
Telecoco,
It's just like
sorry.
it's a me thing. Not a show thing. It's a me thing. So I don't want to shit on the show
Yeah.
because of that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. I like first season was interesting premise, interesting story. This one is started off, I think, in the same vein. different background, different storylines, but still kind of picking up a little bit where things left off and moving on from there. And it's a
Yeah,
fun
this
watch
was, I
for
guess
at
the
least
first
for
one
HBO
seemed like
Max.
a murder mystery. It might be the right word. Maybe it is. Um, yeah.
No, the first one was definitely a murder mystery because I haven't seen it. I mean, she wakes up
Mm.
next to that dead guy, right? And so the mystery, and so you start getting flashbacks, you start getting internal monologues with herself and different personalities within her. Not a la Mr. Robot, right? She is who she is, but she, within her brain, she's having conversations with the dead guy, and then obviously other aspects of her personality, which kind of has been put to the forefront in this season. But like I said,
Oh
very
yeah,
fun, very fun
yeah, people
watch,
don't enjoy it.
easy
I told
watch.
people to still
So
watch
it's
it
good.
anyway, although it wasn't for me. I just say, hey, listen, I think this show appeals to a lot of people. It's got a wide range.
Mhm.
It's one of those hits of the
Mhm.
two women male quadrants in terms of who the show is for demographically. But yeah, I heard it's good. So whatever, it is what it is. I'm gonna take solo on this one 'cause I know this show you haven't watched, and I didn't know this was coming. I just kind of caught Netflix, and I'm
Mhm.
like, I wasn't gonna watch it. I'm like, then I saw the episode guide, 25 minutes. Okay, I do 25 minutes, right? See how, what the hell? I'll give it a shot, right? So it's a show, Japanese show, I believe. It's called He's Expecting,
Mhm.
and so it's about a guy who is pregnant. Okay, so there's a hook. Nothing quite new, but we haven't seen some of this in a while. So I'm like, all right, I'll check it out and see what's up. So basically, yeah, we have a guy who, um, yeah, he is like marketing guru, whatever, kind of a womanizer, doing his own thing, yada yada yada, and all of a sudden, he finds out that he's pregnant for some reason. The science of which is not really broken down in the show, and now he's dealing with that. Obviously, that's a lot on someone's plate. What the hell, right? So I figured, okay, so let's build some kind of comedy. I'm like, so I dug into it, and I gotta admit that no, it just no, it's not a bad show. This is a jack of all trades, master of none, as I like to put it, right? Where you know, it's sometimes humorous, sometimes, but not that funny. It tries to do a lot of drama. That doesn't work too well. A lot of the sci-fi, some of the science fiction, just the idea of the whole pregnancy thing doesn't really, it's not explored enough. And nothing really hits here. And the tone is all over the place. I don't know what the hell it's trying to do. There's a couple of scenes like, oh, now this is interesting. This is the way the show should have gone, but then it goes away from it. It's an odd show. And it's weird because it's set in a world where guy pregnancy occurs. So it's not like he's the only one. It's like a special deal. It's not common, but it's happened in their world, in this world, whatever version of this universe, whatever. It's happened like 50 years ago. It keeps happening so often. He meets a guy who's also pregnant, so they help, supporting each other. So you take that aspect away. It's like, well, it's not that unique. What's the point here, right? Like, people react a certain way too because yeah, it's still unusual for a guy to be pregnant. But I should have leaned more into that. Even the sign, they don't explain it. It's just a guy's pregnant and his girlfriend happens to be the mother. How that works, I don't know, but there is a mother, right? It's established. Even the doctor's like, "Who's the mom?" Okay, when you the conception date, whatever. So he figures it out. Who his girlfriend, at the time, was the mother. How does that work? Like I said, I don't know. They don't get into it, so it doesn't explore anything very well. It's kind of a miss. It's kind of a shame, and again, not a terrible show, but just again, when it knows what it wants to be, you get back to me. But at this point, I can't honestly recommend the show. I guess it's not a terrible show, but it's just odd choice that they did with this one. Let's go to a show though. I assumed you watch, and I think we're gonna different opinions here. Well, maybe not. Maybe not. So I'm gonna let you go first. And
Okay.
that's the Papito, or the Marked Heart, Spanish
Okay.
show. There's a lot of Colombian actors in here. They don't really say what show
Hello,
it takes
hello,
place.
hello, Carlos Vives.
Carlos
And I think it
Vives.
takes place in Colombia.
Yeah, Carlos
I'm pretty
Vives.
sure it's a
Well,
Colombian show, dude.
there's some Mexicans in it. They don't really say where it's
Okay.
occurring. Just to be fair, I don't know. I don't want to jump the gun and say it's got Colombian
Okay,
actors.
true. That's true.
Right.
But I assume
I,
because of the actors and obviously the
correct.
music, it's Colombian
Yeah,
show.
it's just Colombian influence, so I'm all for it. So I'm gonna support it, right? At least the
Mhm.
beginning. And it's a show really about a guy who's married to his wife, he's got a couple of kids, and she ends up getting kidnapped because there's a black market for organ donorship, right? So they take her heart out and then give it to the heart of a woman who the guy who paid for it is I guess a political strategist, very powerful man, very wealthy man. His wife doesn't know how she got the heart, and now the husband of the wife who died finds out. Well, he's trying to find out what's going on, what happened. He finds out the heart is gone, and there goes the mystery, the intrigue, if you will. Good premise. Oh, it caught my attention. Chewy, your thoughts on this one?
It's okay. I mean, it's telenovela like, right? And so you expect a certain feel and look and flow when dealing with telenovelas, Spanish telenovelas, right? But Mexican, Colombian, Argentinian, whatever. And so I think that it colors by numbers type of setup. But again, it's not as long because this is only, I think it's 10, maybe less episodes. I didn't
I
check.
think it's gonna be. I think it's 10
But
episodes. Yeah.
yeah. But the typical telenovelas are like 60 to 100 episodes. I mean, so it's a complete arc, right? So, but this has been treated as a, a serialized show, but not the plethora of episodes that we would expect. It's okay. I mean, filler. I mean, at best, nothing earth shattering, nothing.
Yeah.
Go watch. Actually, Latin will support, but outside of that community, I don't think there's gonna be much support for it.
Yeah, and I'm not recommending it. I know as far as says I hated it, but damn, you're right. The whole telenovela thing, right? It's kind of soap opera for those
Mm,
who don't know what we're talking
yeah.
about here, right? So it's overly dramatic, the ridiculous musical cues and nonsensical and things that have. You should have just had the organ going dan 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 every 10 minutes. I was expecting that to happen. It's just. I'm not a big telenovela fan, right? Some people aren't great, but the story was intriguing enough, and I'm off it. I really am. I'm only here in the background because my girlfriend got into it because she doesn't mind telenovela kind of stuff. So
There
I'm
you
on my
go.
phone,
Yeah.
not even paying attention. But there's one scene, and this is when I saw this scene, I'm like, I should have just walked out. But there's a scene where it's the guy who the father looking trying out who took his wife's heart. Her daughter works at a pizza place that they own, and she's making a delivery. Right, in this daytime, she's riding a bike, delivering a little motorbike to a customer. Next scene is him, who is going after a woman who may have information about how his wife was killed, and she's a DJ at some club. Right,
Mm-hmm.
so she's partying out. She's DJ. Everybody's like, yeah, dancing, confetti's flying down. People are drinking, all that good shit. Right. So he's watching her, trying to make his move. She sees him, recognizes him, and runs out. So he goes after
Mm-hmm.
her. So she runs out of the club. And I thought there was a time change from when his girl was on the bike in the daytime riding the motorcycle. It's still daytime. It's like 3 in the afternoon. Who the fuck is at a club at 3 in the afternoon? Stop. Come on, man. No one's out there partying it up at 3 in the afternoon on a weekday. Come on. I'm like, see, attention to detail, folks. It's
I
important.
don't know, man. I don't know,
It's
man. Mexico,
maybe.
maybe
Well, that's I don't know. Maybe that's
they open the
something.
club at 1 p.m. They get
I,
early happy. I don't know what
maybe
to tell you, man.
maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm old. I don't see it in it really. So whatever. It was silly. I was cracking out like, oh, this show is really bad.
I didn't even think about that. I just completely didn't even think about
But
that,
you know
man.
what I'm saying. So it was odd. That being said, I can if you love telenovelas, if that's your thing,
Mhm.
absolutely. But yeah,
This is up your alley.
yeah. Other
Yeah.
than that, I don't. There's too much stuff coming out being released. I'm trying to be a little bit more, not as liberal with the recommendations because there's a lot of shows coming out, and you guys are gonna find that out very soon. So I want to give you the best recommendations. And this is a best filler if you're a fan of telenovela. The next one, another international show, a Turkish show, a Turkish delight. Well, maybe not. And that's Yakamoz S245. This I didn't know,
Mhm.
Chewy, was actually a spin-off of a show that came out before. It had a couple of seasons called in One Night or One Night. I forgot the name of the show. I don't know why it's escaping me. But it's the premise of this show is the same as the premise of that show, where in this world, the sun, I guess, is emitting gamma rays to an extent that was dangerous to humanity, and now it's caused a cataclysmic event where in the daytime,
Into the
into the
night, but that
night.
wasn't
Thank
Turkish.
you.
That wasn't
It's not
Turkish.
Turkish. Okay. Well.
No, that was. I mean, I think it was French.
Okay. Fair enough.
Well, they spoke several languages, but I don't think it was a Turkish show,
I think this one's
from
Turkish,
what I
but either
recall.
way, but Internet's the same thing, and I heard it's the same. It's the same
Mhm.
story, but it's the thing, and even reference that show in this show, right? When I was reading,
I had no idea.
yeah,
Okay.
because and into the night, they're so the premise is again the same. The sun, people are dying in the daytime, right? You're only safe at nighttime. In daytime, that you have to be like way on the ground below sea level to even survive. So in the show, we have a group of people who are underwater marine biologists, engineers, whatever, doing some kind of mission. A submarine picks them up, right? And while the Earth is frying up or whatever, now they're trying to survive and figure out what's going on. There's a lot of hidden agendas, et cetera, et cetera. On the Into the Night, it was the same thing, except people on a plane trying to escape that, and they actually showed the plane in the show. So it's the same world. But either way, I haven't seen the show, so I don't know what to tell you. But this one here, for me, was it's I for me.
And for me, it was I'm out.
Yeah, I figured you're gonna think that. It's just
It was just, I just couldn't sit through 2 episodes. I just couldn't do it. At first, I mean, it just was. At first, I thought, man, this is like the same story as the other show, but I found the other show much better, much more compelling than this
have you
one.
seen Into the
I don't
Night
know.
or?
Yes, I
Oh, I
did. I've
didn't
seen
know that.
both seasons
Okay,
of it.
okay, all
Yes,
right, got
and I had no idea. Maybe I didn't pay attention close enough because I wanted to jump off
you.
that it was in the same world because it had this feels the same, right? The
Right, right,
sun,
yeah.
all of a sudden, and so it was just boring. It was just I could not do it,
It
man.
took a. I stuck with it because like whatever, because the show came out on Wednesday, just had more time. I was already kind of off the other one, so I'm like, oh, I'll keep watching because whatever. And it get better through the last 3 episodes, but again, it's not great, right? Very predictable, kind of by numbers kind of deal. It's fine. Just again, it's a show that is all right, which basically means for me, I'm not recommending it because again, there's just too much shit to go on there to watch. I
Mm.
assume if you watch Into the Night, same kind of world, same premise. It sounds like to me. I
Yeah,
yeah,
but the Internet was a much better show than this.
yeah.
That was you cared about some of the characters. On this one, I could care less about anybody
That is.
on this
I
ship.
argue with you there. There's people like there's a couple of characters that I do like, and there's a couple of surprises as far as people
Mm.
who go night night or they die late in the show. I was like, okay, that was cool, but ultimately, yeah, it's not a show I'm really pushing. Again, there's way too much good shit out there, and like I said, we're foreign shows. I want to recommend the good stuff, because a lot of
Mm.
people have a hard time watching subtitles. You can watch it in English. I get it, but still. But again, not a high recommendation. I guess Chewy's already off it, so we know his thoughts on that. Um, it is what it is. The last one here is a show we're excited about, and that's Russian Doll, season 2. Of course, this show like took 10 years to release. It appears and came out 2019. COVID
Mm.
delays, yada yada yada. And I love that first season, right? It was such an interesting. It took this Groundhog Day premise, right, where she's dying and coming back the same day. We've seen before, but that there's something more with that kind of premise, right? Because it's not like she releases the same day. She releases the same day when she dies, so she could die in a week, a day, an hour. So it's different, right? There's a mystery behind it. It's very existential in terms of what's going on, the messaging with different worlds, and learning
Mm.
about yourself, and whatever your place in the world, and yada yada yada. Great show. I really enjoyed it. Season 2, I was worried about how they're gonna duplicate that. 'Cause I don't want to see the same thing over and over again because we kind of
Mm.
seen that. And the show definitely took a direction. Because I hadn't seen the trailers, to be honest with you. Took a whole different direction because now they're playing with time, which you got to be very careful of. Very particular with time travel stuff, right? But I guess it's been, I think, 2 or 3 years after the events of the first one.
Four,
Four
four
years,
years
4 years. Okay,
after.
and her friend
Mm.
Alan, who was the other, protagonist in the first season. They move on their lives, and I guess they discover on this train that they can enter that actually takes into a different time. And with her, the main character, she enters her mom's body back in 1982. Um, yeah,
I thought it was yeah, 80. I
888,
mean,
yeah.
early
And
80s.
when he
Yes,
ends the
that's right.
train, he ends up back in the body of his grandmother back in '62 in East Berlin, the time of obviously
Mm.
communists and the war and et cetera, et cetera. And now they're figuring out what the fuck is going on and what's happening, and how their two experiences I assume we're going to interact, I guess. So yeah, Chu, what your thoughts on it? I've seen about 6 episodes. I kind of ran through it pretty quickly. I got a couple left, but what do you think so far?
Oh, okay. No, I think I've gone through 4 or 5. I'm enjoying it. I honestly, I don't think it's as good as the first season. The first
Agreed.
season was just so unique
Mm-hmm.
and its premise, right, and the whole Groundhog Day effect. And it was just very funny. I mean, that's out of the humor,
Mm-hmm.
right? This one is a little more serious tone, I think. And I still trying. Obviously, we're still trying to figure out what's going on as far as why she's going back into the time. At first, it's because she was trying to get or change history in his way. And when she realized she was back in her mom's body, and then there was the whole inheritance of the Krugerrands, right? Those coins that they family had smuggled out of what was it, Bulgaria, Hungary,
Hungry.
whatever,
Mm-hmm.
wherever they're from. Yeah, from Hungary. And so that went to shit. And that was actually kind of funny. But now I'm in the episode where she's gone even further back into the mystery, right, and going back into I guess Nazi occupied
Yeah,
Hungary.
1944, if
Um,
I'm not mistaken, was the year. Yeah.
yes, yes. And so I'm wanting to see what the so I'm not finding it as funny as the first season. Oh, it's interesting. It's still good, but it definitely took a step back.
Yeah, I feel the same way. Absolutely. I do. They reveal the thing with time and changing. That came to the forefront, right? And that was like, okay, here we go. Are they gonna answer that question correctly? And they did, which I enjoyed. I don't want to spoil it too because I think it happens episode 5. We're
Okay.
like, okay, good. So I like that aspect. That again, I'm very stickler about time travel, but I don't want to say too much. It's hard to really talk about without spoiling it. But yeah, it's good. It's good. I guess it's not as funny, but the premise is interesting. I like the fact they went a different direction. Right? They're not giving us
Mhm.
same. They could have easily just, oh, here we go again, just going to the same cycle. Right? That's lazy. So doing something unique, and I can appreciate that. And it's still good. It's still very interesting. It's a
Mhm.
show I still recommend, particularly if you haven't seen the first season, you have to watch. It's really good. It's a must watch for me at the time. And I think watching both together, I think are going to work. I said it's 25 minutes. It goes pretty fast. In an hour, you can watch almost 3 episodes for the most part. So you can really do this
Yeah.
in a couple of days, or really like in one afternoon. So if the show would have been 40 minutes, this season would have been a problem, right? I think because the
Mhm.
tone's a little bit darker than the first one was. But it's still good. I'm still enjoying it. I still recommend for me. Like I said, I'll see how it ends. I guess that reveal the time travel element was okay, correctly handled. That's the words I'm looking for. So I was happy about that. Otherwise,
Where was that? I might have missed it. Maybe I wasn't paying
I
attention.
think it's episode 5. I don't think
And
you're there yet. You know,
is this where she goes back to Hungary
it's what happens after she comes back. You,
from Hungary?
yes, correct.
Okay, so I so okay, so I
Yeah,
haven't seen
I
it
don't
yet.
want to
Okay,
say I don't
okay,
want to spoil it for anybody, but yeah,
okay,
it's revealed like just you'll see. Like, I don't even want to even snip at it,
okay,
but yeah,
okay.
you're gonna see. You know what I'm talking about when it happens. You're like, oh, okay, that makes sense. I don't think you've seen it yet, to be honest with you. I'll be surprised. Maybe you did. I don't think you did. But it's good. Check it out. I guess it's still worth a watch, and it is what it is. And aside from, again, it wasn't a great week of television this side of Better Call Saul.
Yeah.
But that being said, next week looks to be busy. So let's get into that. A lot of stuff. And the first one off the bat, right? And I'm glad this said this week, everything's going to be spread out. Right? If you're going to give us, have 8 shows coming out this week, at least spread them out. And it does help watching these shows because a lot of them, most of them are HBO Max. HBO Max is just dumping shit like crazy now. And they usually don't release but a couple episodes, which is nice, right? So it helps with the pacing. So the first one off the bat, and I forgot about this show, and I loved this show, and that's Barry, season 3. Bill Hader stars as he's a hitman who obviously leaves the business and he's trying to become an actor. We have Fonzarelli, of course, the Fonz himself, as his teacher.
Hey.
And it's such a surprise show, really good. And I think the show, old and Russian dog. I thought we were waiting forever, Russian dog. We're waiting forever for Barry. It's like, when the fuck is season 3 dropping, for Christ's sake? It's been a few years. If you haven't seen it, dude, highly recommend Barry on HBO Max. Great show, great idea, and executed perfectly. So season 3 is coming out. So I'm super excited about that. That's today, the 24th, on a Sunday.
Tonight, yep.
Also today, 2 shows on HBO Max. I never see that happening. Rarely. A show called The Baby, which I know about until you mentioned it. I was like, so I looked it up real quick. It's a comedy horror. I love comedy. I love me some horror. So it's up my alley. It drops today as well. I guess there's a woman who finds a baby or something like that, or in possession of a baby, and this baby apparently, I saw a little bit of the trailer only. They don't really explain, but I guess death follows this baby, or bad things happen. So I don't know. So I'm not sure how that mix of comedy and horror. That's not an easy thing to pull off. It really isn't. So I'm kind of curious how HBO Max does it. But and again, you like horror comedy, it looks the idea is interesting. Let's see how it goes. That's
Yeah.
The Baby today. We Own This City. Again, HBO Max is a theme here. It comes out tomorrow.
Tomorrow night, Monday nights.
Monday night. We Own This City too? I think it's a true story, right?
It's HBO.
HBO. I'm sorry. Yeah.
No,
Oh,
I
based.
don't know if
Is
it's
it?
no, it's not based on a true
Okay.
story, but it is written by the same guys who wrote the Wire.
Oh.
As far as
Okay.
the books, I'm not sure if they wrote the show or definitely wrote the
Okay.
books that where the Wire came from, right? It's a series of articles,
Great
and
show.
so this is same writers, so same, and obviously not updated, but it's more current, right? Where the Wire was written, 15, 20 years ago. And because it's a little when you look at it dated because it's obviously the times that this occurred,
Right.
right, and some of the things and versus now. But I think this is more of a modern take on modern policing
Yeah.
in the Baltimore
Corruption, I
area.
guess, or something like that, or if I'm not
Yes.
mistaken. Yeah, John Barenthal, The Punisher, is
Yes.
headlines the cast here. So it looks interesting. The HBO again. I'm not sure if We Own This. We Own This City is the name. I think I said it wrong earlier. I don't know.
Yeah. We
Yeah.
own the city.
But
Yeah,
again, that's tomorrow.
that's
It's
it.
just 3 shows, and might as well keep sticking with HBO Max on the 26th. You got 4 days of HBO Max. Good for them. This rarely happens, and it's a movie called The Survivor, Barry Levinson's film, starring Ben Foster, who's great.
That's
Yeah,
correct. Yes.
this is a true story about a
Yes.
Holocaust survivor. I guess he was in Auschwitz, and I guess from what I understand, he was forced to fight, to
Box.
battle, fight
Yeah.
whatever, and
Hmm.
when he escapes or leaves or saves whatever from Auschwitz, he ends up going to boxing. Ends up getting a match like Rocky Marciano again, brought him back to true story. So it's that story of him
Hmm.
escaping and trying to find his love that he lost, when he was captured and all that. So it looks very interesting. I like Barry Foster, I like Levinson, so and HBO Max. It's a film. This was good, so I'm hoping to catch this on the 26th.
Hmm.
Paramount Plus getting a new show. That's not Star Trek or Halo related. And that's very rare. That's all they do is Star Trek, for Christ's sake. They might as well be just call it Star Trek Plus because that's all they do. That's the offer. Miles Teller on this one. And Chewie, this is the one about
This is the one about making
the
of the
Godfather, right?
Godfather.
Yeah, one of the
Yes.
greatest films of all time.
Right.
Yeah, so
Hmm.
this is interesting. I like Miles Teller, so I love me the Godfather. Why not?
I'm not sure what to expect,
I don't
but
either.
let's see. Yeah.
But I guess there's a lot of behind the scenes stuff that went on in the making of that film. So,
Hmm.
okay, Francis Ford Coppola, if I'm not mistaken, directed the movie anyway. So that looks interesting. Again, Paramount Plus. Let's see how that goes. Same day, Hulu. We have Under the Banner of Heaven.
Hmm. Andrew
Andrew
Garfield.
Garfield, who's great. Even his last thing he did on Netflix was really good. Not a great film, but he was really good in it. Yeah, this is murder mystery, right?
Yes, yes. I think it happens in Utah, Mormon country,
Mm-hmm.
I believe, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, so it'll be a dark thriller. So I'm looking forward to this one.
Hmm.
Hulu's been doing pretty well for the most part on their shows. I'm looking forward to that. Apple Plus is dropping something, and hopefully they can kind of get back on track. Yeah,
Again.
again, they had a little bump with Roar, but they're back. Let's see if they can hit it. This one looks a lot more interesting. It's called Shining Girls. That's on the 29th of Friday. This one, I guess, Moss is her last name, if I her first name. By the way, she
Oh, yeah, from
Handmaid Tale
Handmaid's
Ride
Tale.
and all that.
Yes.
So this is, I guess, she's some little mystery thriller about someone who I guess gets assaulted or something like that. I'm not sure if it's sexually or not. And then
Yeah.
afterwards, she experiences this. Seems like these time travel kind of things or elements behind it, from my understanding. Looks interesting. Apple Plus has been doing pretty well. I assume Moss is going to be in it, not a bait and switch, as Apple has been known to do
No, I'm
on
pretty sure she's front
occasion. No,
and
I'm
center.
sure. I'm
So
just joking. But this is very interesting. Good murder mystery, some
yeah.
time travel elements to it. Again, Apple Plus has been a very high recently, so I'm all over it. And then the last thing, same night. So again, luckily things are spread out, and this is only released on Netflix, which is very rare, right? To get one release only, and that is Ozark, the finale, the last seven
Part
episodes,
two.
part
Yes.
two. Show we both enjoyed. This is a show that we're probably gonna talk about in 2 weeks when we all finished it, because if you're watching it, you're watching it already. But I'm curious to see again. You need to stick the landing, and we went through it with Killing Eve, a show we enjoyed, which really just shot the bed with that one.
Did not. Yeah. No. Sure.
Hopefully,
Yeah.
this is a show which I got. I had more hopes for this show than Killing Eve. I like Ozark more than Killing Eve, so my
No.
expectations are higher. Right, I want this needs to end well. It have to be
No.
great.
And the first half of the finale was
It's really
great.
good.
They
Yeah,
have
really good.
brought it back up to season one level of
Agreed.
quality. And so started great. And I thought about, like I said, the first half of the panel is ending great.
Yeah, exactly. So hopefully, fingers crossed. I'm really excited about this. I just need, like I said, like I always said, it doesn't have to be the best ending ever. Just end well. That's all
Hmm.
we're looking for, and
Hmm.
people are gonna get whacked. We all know that. Does the guy die? Is it Bateman character? Is he dropping here? Predictions? Who's going down?
Oh,
Someone's going down.
uh,
Has to be.
I mean, so many people. I mean, so spoiler if you haven't seen the first half of the first one. I mean, so many people died there. That Jesus
True,
Christ.
but
Um,
I think I got a feeling Marty.
and obviously, we know this is starting from or I don't know if this is starting with the action or ending with the action. We had that opening shot in part one where they're going to Chicago and they get into a
Right.
very severe
I think
accident,
the
right?
accident
So,
happens probably the middle of the show. I'm thinking, not the end. Yeah,
okay,
if that's the end. That's gotta hope not. That's the Game of Thrones ending. If that's the ending, really is. But
yeah, yeah, no
I think
shit,
the wife goes down for sure. I'm not sure about Marty yet.
okay,
I'm not sure. I think the wife's getting dropped. I got a
all right,
feeling.
well,
Amongst other, I'm sure some of the drug dealers I
yeah,
get and all that cartel. Of course, they're gonna go down because that's how it works. But yeah, I got a feeling one of them two is gonna get dropped. I just don't see it. But I'm very excited about this, and we'll talk about that in a couple of weeks. So again, busy 8 shows coming out, and if you have HBO Max, you got like 2 or 3 shows coming out. So good for you guys. If you have HBO Max, you're gonna be busy. But again, it's spread out. And it's early in the week, so it gives you time to watch this throughout the week and all that. So
yeah. But never mind that we're still watching Winning Time.
absolutely,
We're still
great show by the
watching
way.
61st
Yes,
Street.
good show.
Obviously tomorrow night we got more Better Call Saul. I mean, so throughout, I
No,
mean,
listen,
throughout this year with everything else we got going
I
on,
get it.
it's a
Yeah,
heavy
usually
week.
my Sundays is Sundays is my day to catch up on my Apple Plus day. So I'm watching
Mm.
We Crash and what's the Slow Horses. I'm watching that.
Oh, that one finished, so that was good. I finished that one, and the Slow Horses is very so
Yeah,
good,
so
man.
I'm
That's
again
such
to
a good
those.
show
So
on
that
Apple
usually my
Plus.
Sundays are comprised of that. So I can't delay all that stuff out of range. I have to
Mm-hmm.
go back and because I focus on the new shows. But that being
Mm-hmm.
said, our habits aren't that important. Whatever your habits are, I hope it works for you. Packed next week. We'll talk about all these shows and get recommendations. So if you hold off on watching them, let us tell you if it's worth the time or not. As always, check us out here every Sundays, Latin Nerd Network. Subscribe, share, etc. We got other shows like, of course, I got all my reviews, all the movies coming out. And of course, we got Nerd Splaining, all the nerd info for you guys broken down. And of course, Chewy, thank you for your time. We appreciate it. See you guys next time.
Peace.